Welcome to the Brown Carpet Podcast, where each episode we take a weird real news story and together we twist it into an even weirder film.
We do it live, and we stream it on Facebook so the people at home can join in and make suggestions for the film's title, tagline, casting, soundtrack and story.
And at the end, we make a movie poster for the B-grade masterpiece, We Cook Up.
You can see all the movie posters we've made in the Brown Lit section of our website,
www.thebrowncarpetpod.com.
We also got a sweet-ass merch page on there, so you can pick up a t-shirt, phone case, or throw pillow emblazoned with the BCP logo.
You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher or Spotify, and if you're listening to this, you could be watching all the episodes on our YouTube channel.
Just search for the Brown Carpet Podcast, and you can see Corey's pretty little beady face.
If you've got a suggestion of a weird, funny headline you'd like us to turn into champagne cinema, hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, or email us at thebrowncarpetpod@gmail.com.
And now, let's get to the show.
Yeah.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
He jumped over 3 linebackers in midair, sprouted inwards like a gazelle.
No one laughs at a master of quack fool.
Real nice.
Many have died from starvation due to the difficulty of finding enough food, such as seals.
Shut up. No more Mr. Nice Duck. That's it. Right, Mr. Sitz?
What do you make of that? You know, it's the most fantastic story I've ever heard.
The Brown Carpet Podcast.
Welcome to episode 43 of the Brown Carpet Podcast. My name's Corey Farrell, and I am currently on the line over the internet with Josh Groom, who is in California. I believe he's in Redondo Beach somewhere, in the back of a van. Josh, are you with us?
Corey, you there?
Yes, Josh, are you there? And are you coherent?
Sorry, mate, I am. I'm in a van. You're going to need to speak up.
Are you living in a van down by the river? I want to know.
Oh, I'm not down by a river. I'm down by the beach. I'm in Redondo Beach in a McDonald's car park. I'm staring into the sorry soul, staggering into McDonald's at, what time is it? 5:59 a.m., mate. This is what I do for art.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What are you doing in the van? Have you still got the van? Are you almost at the end of your journey?
The road trip is coming to a close. I've got 1 more week in the van, 6 more days sleeping in this fart-filled environment.
Describe the inner workings of the back of the van right now.
Mate, I got to tell you, it's a lot bigger than I expected. It actually sleeps 6 people, so it's way over the fucking top.
You're in a Winnebago. You're in an old person's Winnebago right now.
I am. I'm a grey nomad. I've got a sink, a microwave. There's a toilet and a shower. I'm sitting at the dining room table talking to you right now.
I was thinking you were curled up in a fetal position in a sleeping bag in a little curtains pulled in a 70s.
That was our road trip about 5 years ago, and I've stepped up since then. But
you have
essentially in the same place, just sitting in a McDonald's car park, waiting for you to take a shit.
Ain't nothing changed but the weather. So you being in the back of the van, Josh,
yes.
Is it a closed optional sort of situation in the van, or are you? Have you got track pants on? What are you doing? Are you currently, are you hanging dong? What's going on?
What do you like for public nudity? Do you get naked in public spaces?
Well, if you're asking me if I'm a flasher and I wear a cloak and do it in parks and public places, then the answer is yes, I do that. But
100% yes.
No, I have been nude in public a few times in my life. I don't make a habit of it.
What are we talking? Like gyms, nude beaches? What do you do?
I have been to a nude beach, and then it was a clothing optional beach, and there was a man as I lied down on my towel and looked over, there was a man fapping looking in my direction, fapping.
That's not good at all. Ruin the experience?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it wasn't over me. It would have been over my partner. But I still felt uncomfortable because we did lock eyes for a moment.
Was it the vinegar stroke moment?
That wasn't the worst thing, Josh. He was wearing a fedora the whole time.
Oh, that is much more of an assault than anything else.
And as we walked into the beach, I clocked him straight away. Like I looked at, as we walked into this, and it's always wrinkly old dudes with balls banging around their knees, always wearing backpacks, no clothes, sneakers and a hat.
The backpack and nothing else is probably one of the most disturbing looks on the face of the planet.
If there was a nude beach creepy man dress code, it would be backpack, cap,
adventure sandals,
and wraparound speed dealer sunglasses, and a Prince Albert piercing right through the knob. Now, as we walked into the beach, I looked to my left, I clocked this dude, and I won't say anything. I know this dude's weird.
Possible sex pervert.
Well, he was at the beach in jeans, like a leather vest, like a cowskin vest and a fedora, and we're on the outskirts of Byron Bay. So you do the math. Turns out it was the fappening. He fapped away and ruined my experience.
That is rough times, mate. Rough stuff.
In answer to your question, yes, I could have been someone who got nude regularly in public, but that man stopped me.
My parents used to be big nudists back in the day.
Oh, Sandra.
And yeah, she used to like to get the kid off, her and Dad. One particular summer, we used to holiday up in Bluey's Beach, and there was a nudist beach nearby.
Yep.
I didn't like to get naked that much, especially in close proximity to my parents. Everything was weird about it. I don't know. On this particular summer's day, I must have been feeling a little bit freer. My inhibitions were away, so I did strip down and fell asleep lying on my back in the middle of summer and the Australian sun beating down upon me. And I sunburned little Josh, if you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, no.
Quite severely, the entire lower torso region, red raw by the time I got home.
Did your mum have to rub cream on it, Josh?
No, I did that myself, but funnily enough, when you sunburn your unaroused member and then become aroused later on, it creates a very interesting, like, candy pole type pattern across the unsunburned and sunburned areas. It's an image that has stayed with me ever since.
I'm getting a picture of you and your penis being a candy cane. Did it curl up at the end like that too?
Oh. Mate, we need to get back onto this story. We are losing focus.
Okay.
It's time for the top three.
It's the top three. The motherfucking top three.
It's the top three.
This week's top three has to do with the news story that we are covering, which, funnily enough, involves nudity.
Get out.
I know, it's filth. Absolute filth from the get-go. The question I had for you, mate, is what are your top three nude moments in film?
Well, Joshua, you know how I feel about Jamie Lee Curtis, and I'm sure you feel the same.
That she's potentially a man?
No, that she's... Oh, excuse me?
Oh, that's the rumour.
Do we not agree on this? That she's one of the most beautifully sculpted women of all time?
Yes, very much so. She's absolutely a beautiful woman. But once you hear that Richard Gere thing once or twice too many times, you kind of have to wonder if he does have gerbils in the suitcase.
Oh, Richard Gere definitely has gerbils running. He's got a farm in his anus.
Well, mate, you might want to do a little bit of research on Jamie Lee. Just saying.
Okay, I'll look it up as soon as I get off. But yeah, so my first one would be Jamie Lee Curtis trading places.
Sensational pick.
Then I'm going to have to say Halle Berry's Swordfish.
Probably the most unnecessary nudity in any film I've ever seen, but I'm all for it.
She's on a deck chair, right? And she's reading something. Yeah.
Completely doesn't serve any part of the narrative or story. It's just contractually obliged.
And lastly, a bit of a cult classic of our generation, The Exchange Student in American Pie.
Ooh, controversial. Interesting.
Why is it controversial?
What do you mean? Why is it? Mate, you just not up with your Me Too. If it's the scene that you're talking about, is this the one where they film her while she's changing and broadcast it to the entire school and community?
Yeah, I mean that's happening. That's happening. That's script. She knows that the actress knows it's being filmed. So what's the problem?
The actress may be aware, but they're essentially portraying a sexual assault, mate, on screen, and you got off on it, you filthy beast.
That's grasping at straws.
Well, mate, some of the strong feminists online will think very differently to you.
I'm pretty certain no strong feminists listen to our podcast. It's about dicks and balls.
Well, speaking of dicks, balls, and movies, we should probably get on to our news story.
Well, no, I want to hear your top three.
Oh, okay, sure. Mine would be... We're probably going in a different vein, no pun intended. I would say the Shining sequence, room 237, where Jack enters the room and sees that beautiful naked woman in the bathtub area. And then she switcheroos into that sort of witch and hag as he's embracing her.
And you like the witchy hag part, right?
She gets me off, dude. She is sexy. Then I would have to go with the incredible roller girl in Boogie Nights.
Oh, please.
Never takes her skates off. And then finally, the opening scene of Carrie, the 1977 Carrie, where she gets her lady times while it's in the shower at school. There's nudity, there's blood, there's bullying. It's just one of the most harrowing opening scenes to a feature film I could ever remember. And yeah,
I would another one came to me. I mean, I know I've done my three, and I'm going off script here, but Antichrist has got some pretty intense full frontal nudity.
It does indeed.
Even some weird genital mutilation. I think maybe we'll leave that there.
Is Willem Dafoe's dong involved in that film?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just thinking the other day, getting off William Dafoe's dong for a second. I was just thinking about.
You could get on it. It doesn't, you know.
I think it's big enough for both of us to get on. I was just thinking back about. Do you remember, like, as we were coming up, you know, there was very little internet access and porn was at a premium. I remember having those VHS tapes of certain films that were just like ground to a nub, like the tracking over certain areas because you'd hit pause so many times at that one spot. I had this film, not a very well-known film, but maybe you'll know it from your youngster day. It was a film called Two Moon Junction.
No, I don't know it, but fill me in.
I must have recorded it off like some sort of like late night Skinamax.
Skinamax.
I don't remember much about the film other than 12-year-old Josh saw many scenes of that film, frame by frame, on a VHS player that was falling apart under the strain.
That film made Josh's banana cry. 12-year-old banana cry. Oh, and if you're talking about VHS, I distinctly remember pausing and rewinding on Jennifer
Connelly, Career Opportunities.
Oh, riding that mechanical toy pony thing.
The filmmakers knew what they were doing.
I need a hot shower before we even do this podcast.
That's a perfect segue to our hot, steamy, sauna-related...
Oh, it is too. I don't even deliberately do that. What is the news story that we're going to turn into a film?
Mate, the news story that we found this week is a cracker. Quite literally, there is a crack involved. It comes out of the Miami Herald. Let me read the headline for you. In Sweden, naked policeman arrests fugitive in sauna.
Oh, this is good.
It's steamy, it's hot. I'm going to dive right into the story. There is no escape from the long arm of the law in Sweden, not even sitting naked in a sauna.
Well, it's not the long arm that you'd be worried about, would it?
Police spokeswoman Carina Skagerland says an off-duty police officer found himself sitting in the same sauna in Rinkeby, a Stockholm suburb.
This is great. I love that the Nordic pronunciations are going to be amazing. Keep going.
I'm crushing these Viking words, mate. As a fugitive who had dodged a jail sentence for aggravated assault, after recognizing each other, the naked police officer calmly told the man that he should consider himself arrested. She said Tuesday the officer called colleagues to pick up the fugitive, adding the arrest was undramatic and the wanted man didn't even try to flee. The officer was praised for the March 29th arrest, and police warned fugitives on Facebook, "We are everywhere. Even if you do not see us, we are there." So, mate, I reckon what we need to do, as we always do, is work out whose story is this. Like, what perspective are we gonna tell this from? Is this the criminal, the cop, the other people at the sauna that day? Where do we start?
We could go the criminal, but I feel like it could be a cop. This could be an opportunity to do a cop thing, Josh, but that would probably lend itself to a different format. We haven't done that before. We haven't done TV, like a cop show.
So maybe this is our first TV pilot, mate.
Yeah, let's dip our toes.
The only problem with calling this a TV show is this has got to be HBO, and even then, like, it's wall-to-wall nudity, this particular segment of story. So I think it's going to have to be some pixelization of pink bits to get us over the line.
That's okay. We'll just do the Japanese porn thing or pixelate the dicks.
Why don't we take the news story as our opening scene, as the literal... I mean, we need to jazz it up a little bit.
Oh, so like pre-titles.
Pre-titles. Let me paint it for you. It's the sauna arrest of the notorious Swedish crime boss, Oscar Karlsson. We push through the thick steam and find a muscular, nude man sat on the wooden slats at his local Karlbad house.
Which is Swedish for a sauna, yeah?
Yes.
For our non-Swedish listeners.
This muscular man could be Ryan Quanten. Do you remember the Aussie bloke from True Blood?
Oh, yes. What, you didn't want to choose the Nordic man from True Blood?
Maybe that's a better idea. That makes more sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I don't remember what that dude's name was, but the Viking-looking tall fella.
While you keep talking, I'm going to look it up.
You hunt him down. It's Detective Richard Paulson's day off, and he's enjoying himself, sweating out the toxin, stark naked at his local sauna, surrounded by beautiful, naked Swedish bodies.
Alexander Skarsgard.
Yes, good-looking fella too. I think he'll be great in the nude for this.
Yep.
So genetically blessed Euro men and women have the scene looking like a steamy soft porn as Richard snoozes while listening to Jose Gonzalez on his headphones. He drifts in and out of consciousness. His eyes flutter open as an enormous Nordic man spoons water onto the hot rocks and steam hisses like an angry snake.
Oh, God, that sentence. There's so much innuendo in that sentence.
It's all about the innuendo.
Angry snake, hot rocks, spoons.
Spoons? He instantly recognizes the man as Oscar Carlson, murderous crime boss for the Black Cobras, a vicious organized gang of thugs and monsters.
That's very Tarantino. I love it.
The Black Cobras?
Yeah.
Rarely seen in public, this is an impossible opportunity, and Richard springs into action. He tackles Oscar, and we are treated to a prolonged fight scene between these nude, sweaty Vikings, crashing the Enya-fueled serenity of this peaceful sweat lodge with hardcore violence, as perfect blonde bodies scatter in every direction. After leaving a long trail of destruction, Paulson defeats the much larger man through his impeccable karate skills and quick thinking, ending the fight with a spinning roundhouse kick to the face.
There is a Nordic martial art called Glimmer, which is Nordic folk wrestling.
Glimmer?
Glimmer.
So he's a Glimmer expert then?
He's a Glimmer expert. Whatever belt you get in Glimmer, the highest of this highest order, he possesses it.
I think it's just like a normal leather belt, but they just sprinkle a little bit of glitter on top before they give it to you.
Yeah, right.
When Detective Richard Paulson makes this daring arrest, he's hailed as a hero, and he takes the moment in the spotlight to push his nudist agenda. He feels that this incident in Sweden has highlighted a dark, fleshy underbelly of global nude crime that has gone unchecked for too long. So he proposes the initiation of a new, buck-naked crime-fighting unit, the Raw Corps.
Oh my God, the Raw Corps! What that's a great name.
So I'm thinking it's kind of like the A-Team, except in the nude.
I see it now up in lights. The Raw Corps, nothing to hide.
The Raw Corps are an undercover, naked international crime-fighting squad made up of 4 key members. So we need 4, like, sort of stealthy, nude assassins. So I'm thinking Richard's our first one. He's the leader, handsome,
the Glimmer expert,
black belt in Glimmer, and consummate nudist.
Let's get a strong female up in there early. Maybe a knife specialist. Beautiful.
Yes.
Tattooed all over. Obviously nudist. They all have to be nudist, right?
Yep. How about an Isabel Lucas?
We had that thing where we're going to cast an Aussie every episode. That's great. Yep.
Okay, our third, we need an explosives expert, an ex-race car driver, also very handsome, obviously. Maybe this is time to slip Ryan Gosling into the mix.
Oh, perfect. And he has a name like Dolph.
Yeah. Maybe another lady?
Yep.
What are her specialties?
Maybe she's a magician.
Nice. Yes, we need some magic on the team, definitely. Always comes in handy. Perhaps she's a seductress.
Ah, femme fatale.
Maybe a Megan Fox.
Yeah, perfect.
So 4 super hot, super talented nudists.
Think A-Team, but buck naked, yeah? Is that what we're going for?
Exactly.
Perfect, we're on the same page.
So every week, the Raw Corps get their gear off and they tackle a nude crime somewhere around the world.
This is a global force that bounces all over the world, smashing Mexican cartels on nude beaches, in Tulum, maybe.
Yes.
Where else are they? Come on.
Maybe there's a money laundering syndicate happening in the LA porn industry. They need to get inside there.
Of course there is. We've got pickpocket crews in British gymnasiums. What else we got?
Mate, wherever there are sweaty dicks and balls, the Raw Corps will be there.
German techno clubs.
Yes. Yeah. Arms dealers operating out the back of nude German techno clubs, for sure.
There's a glory hole syndicate that's operating out of, I don't know. This goes right to the top and to the bottom.
Yeah. I mean, we might have to really push our writers hard to get through like any more than 2 or 3 seasons of nude crimes around the world, but if they were able to do 10 seasons of Water Rats, surely we can come up with some nude crimes.
I think so.
We need our pilot episode to really kick things off with a bang.
Challenge accepted. We're talking nudity. We're not talking. This isn't going to be set in a primary school. You know what I mean?
No, that would be a very difficult episode.
It would really be a difficult episode.
Yeah.
Rolf Harris.
So where are we going to go for this opening episode? What's the seedy first scenario that the guys will have to encounter?
What's the Raw Corps' first chore? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. We need a statement episode, so we need plenty of nudity. We need high stakes. There needs to be some sort of
serial killer. We've got a serial killer on the loose.
How's a serial killer getting into the nudity though?
How do we get into the mind of a depraved serial killer trying to get people?
How about we've got a serial killer killing off nude models, like setting up fake photo shoots, perhaps through like a Craigslist or something like that, but there's been a string of murders at fake nude photo shoots.
So there's a nude photographer serial killer on the loose, is what you're saying?
There's been a string of murders. Say there's been like 4 or 5 of these killings, and the team has been brought in to try and
from
sort
Craigslist. You're saying it's all happening. It's
all happening via Craigslist. Yeah,
he's putting on posts on Craigslist,
and the team has to infiltrate this naked world and take the killer down.
This sounds like a perfect situation for a good sting. A trap.
So you're saying that the team become models themselves?
Yes.
Perhaps start answering random ads?
They start combing Craigslist for all these nude shoots.
So if all four of our team head out on 4 independent shoots, maybe that's what this first pilot episode is. Each of them of dubious legitimacy. By the end of the episode, one of them turns out to be the killer, so they then have to turn on all their cop duties. But up until that point, perhaps you can follow, like, okay, let's say Richard, the leader of the squad, he goes out on a photo shoot for, let's say they're doing a cover shoot for the new gay porn parody entitled Bareback Mountain.
Yep. Okay.
So he's like in a pair of arseless chaps and a cowboy hat.
Yep.
Who else? Isabella, what does she get up to?
She was what did she do? What did we say Isabella did?
Isabella was a knife expert.
She might go on a shoot that is like for a fetish website for something weird though, like scantily clad women drowning in quicksand.
Yes, that's a big market. That is a very big market. Let's get Dolph involved. Maybe he's on a brony shoot.
Anytime that brony culture can be incorporated in anything, I'm all for.
Okay, so it's him and a couple of 40-year-old men dressed as My Little Ponies.
And for those who don't know, that's a real thing.
I'm just stoked about the idea of Ryan Gosling dressed as a My Little Pony. That's our poster right there. That's gold.
It's perfect. We've got one more. We've got Megan Fox. Where's she going to end up, Josh? What shoot can we put? Where can we put her?
I mean, we need to keep it weird.
And that's why I'm asking you, of course.
Are you aware of teratophilia? I might be saying that wrong.
Is that sex with spiders?
No, this is the fetishment of amputees.
Oh, right.
So perhaps Megan ends up on an amputee shoot. It's her and a couple of dudes. One dude with no legs, another guy with no arms.
Is this the bad one? Is that what you're saying?
I think they should all be super suspicious, and perhaps the one that turns out to be the serial killer could be the one that seems, I don't know, the most legit of the weird ones. So her shoot, whilst it is fairly creepy and strange, actually turns out to be for a legitimate website. Maybe it's Ryan Gosling at the brony shoot that goes bad.
The brony bucks.
The brony bucks wild.
Does he kill bronies or is he a brony himself?
Maybe he's got a little bit of brony in him.
We've all got a little bit of brony in us.
That's a good point.
We've still got a killer to catch, Josh.
I reckon this episode is all about cutting back and forth between these 4 different photo shoots, each one sort of going about as well as you could imagine a photo shoot involving a nude lady drowning in quicksand or a gay porn parody entitled Bareback Mountain. So we're jumping back and forth between them. Some are kind of humorous, some are kind of sinister. The amputee one's a bit weird, and the brony one's just sort of straight up bizarre. But like we should throw red herring. So like, you know, the nude lady drowning in quicksand, obviously, you know, she's in a vulnerable position. It seems like this could be the way for a serial killer to kind of set a woman up. You know, she's being submerged in the sand. Just before she slips right underneath, he leaps into action, pulls her out. We realise, you know, the safety regulations are all in place. That's a legit shoot.
That's right. And then maybe it's not even life-threatening. There's just moments where our heroes feel like they might have to compromise more than what they were prepared to. Like, I imagine the main guy, Richard Paulson, on the Brokeback Mountain shoot, maybe there's a horse involved, and he's starting to get the impression that maybe this horse is really involved. You know what I mean? So this is tense on many levels.
Maybe he's tied up, he's hog-tied, you know, in keeping with the cowboy theme, and they march this horse in and we're like, oh shit, this has gone bad. Meantime, Dolph finishes his brony shoot. He's still dressed as a brony. He's walking back through the car park. So we think Dolph is free. He's suddenly tackled out of the darkness by the photographer. And we realise he's the one in danger and Richard is actually safe. There's a scuffle in a car park. 2 40-something-year-old men dressed as My Little Ponies. Knife is drawn.
Maybe like the fight goes into the car from outside the car.
Spills into his car.
His expertise kicks into gear. He starts driving the car seemingly erratically. This is kind of like, it turns into like a death-proof thing.
Maybe he's got this serial killer brony hanging off the rear bumper of his car by one arm. Speeding through the LA streets. Perhaps the guy in the car park has managed to wound him. He's losing blood badly and starting to lose consciousness. So he needs to bring the team before he loses consciousness and kind of like drops off.
Oh, right. Does he have some sort of bat signal?
Yeah, some sort of like perhaps it's more of a phallic icon in the sky.
It's just like an eggplant emoji.
He throws up the eggplant emoji in the sky, and the guys know, okay, it's Dolph. Dolph's
He's
under
in trouble.
They GPS locate him.
That's something we need to actually clear up for people listening. Of course, all our heroes are always nude for the most part when they're not dressing up for bronies and whatnot, but they all keep a tracker on their taint.
Yeah.
They all have taint trackers, so they're all accounted for at all times.
They're all locked into the grid with their taint trackers. That's brilliant. They converge on the race car, so they all kind of pull up alongside Dolph, who's flagging badly. He's lost a lot of blood. He's pale. Let's say Richard jumps across and takes the wheel from him just in time as he passes out. Still on the freeway, maybe we're going 70 miles an hour down the road, and manages to, keep the car from skirting off the edge of the motorway. Our two females maybe mount the car just as our brony killer drags himself onto the back of the car, so maybe we've got like a three-way fight happening on the back of this moving vehicle.
I imagine Isabel throws a few knives and maybe gets one in his leg. Megan Fox does a card trick.
It's a perfect time for a card trick while going 70 miles an hour down the freeway. There's a wrestling match happening on the back of the trunk of this muscle car. We got a passed out Ryan Gosling in the front seat, and the girls battling this brony serial killer on the boot of the car. How does this turn out? I mean, it's the first episode, so they've got to take him down somehow. There's got to be success at the end. What's a spectacular way to finish this off? Maybe Isabella tosses a knife across to Megan Fox. They both have a knife each. They both slam the knives into the side of the car just as Richard hits the brakes. So they're both locked in with the knives. He hits the brakes and he sends the brony flying. He comes to a rest lying on Venice Beach. He's surrounded by tattooed bodybuilding transvestites on roller skates.
And then cue Genuine Pony. And the credits roll.
Yes, perfect. Slow motion, phantom cam, 1,000 frames a second.
And then we do our Baywatch episode. Next episode, we stay on the beach. Bang.
Oh, it's a cracker of a pilot episode. I mean, we need to work out, obviously, the story arc for the entire first season, but we'll get to all that stuff. I think it's a pretty enticing pilot episode. I can imagine Netflix, HBO, they're going to be clamoring for this one.
I love it.
What's the title?
This is interesting because we have two titles, because we have the title of the TV show, which is The Raw Core.
Okay, you want to call it The Raw Core?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, do you have some other names you want to throw in the ring?
Dirty Swedes, done dirt cheap.
AC/DC.
Swedish Heat Balls.
I don't mind that.
Undercovered Cops.
I like that. That is good.
What do you got?
I've got Nord and Order.
Nord and Order's good, yep.
Blue Detective.
Blue Detective. What's that a reference to?
Well, you know when a porn film is called a blue movie, and it's like a play on True Detective.
Oh, Blue. Okay, yeah, get it. Yep, nice.
But I really like the Raw Core, but I think we need an episode name. Oh, you know what we should call it?
What's that?
Clickbait.
Clickbait.
Click for the camera and the bait for the Craigslist.
Yes, clickbait. All right, so the Raw Core, clickbait. That's the pilot episode.
You got some taglines for us?
Buns out, guns out.
Nice.
These private dicks are going public.
These dicks are on a hot streak.
Yep.
Putting it together better than an IKEA or Allen key. No, that's not bad. That's.
How about these private dicks are going public?
Yes, because that kind of encompasses the show, the essence of the show, right?
Yep.
So Josh, I had a couple of ideas for the soundtrack. Nude by Radiohead.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
There's a song called Theme for a Nude Beach for the B-52s. That could actually be a cool theme tune for the show.
Especially because this episode ends on the beach. And I mean, for that opening scene in the sauna, Hot in Here by Nelly. Like, it's getting hot in her.
I like how we've actually perfectly broken down the music for every part of this show. I would watch this show.
I would watch the shit out of this show. It's essentially, once it's pixelated, it's a PG show again. It's a cop show. They just happen to be in the nude. Maybe if you pay premium, you can get the depixelized version. But it's like $38 an episode or something.
It's great. I love it. I love their bat signal is the emoji is the eggplant emoji, and they bring each other together through their taint trackers. That's episode 43. Done right there. Well done, Josh.
Good work, mate.
And until next time, don't forget to flush.
See you, cunts.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
He jumped over 3 linebackers in midair, sprouted inwards like a gazelle.
No one laughs at a master of quack fool.
Real nice.
Many have died from starvation due to the difficulty of finding enough food, such as seal.
Shut up. No more Mr. Nice Duck. That's it. Right, Mr. Zitz?
What do you make of that? You know, it's the most fantastic story I've ever heard.
The Brown Carpet Podcast.
Imagine waking up. Well, you're not waking up. Imagine being dead. I mean, you can't imagine because you're dead. But imagine being found and you're head to toe dressed as a brony.
If they wake up in the van, I consider them my property for the day.
Well, if Inspector Rex has taught us anything, we boy who cries wolf's this. Oh, fuck it, I can't say that. Well, you know that this reeks of something. This smells. No, fuck, not reeks. Why am I saying smell and reek?
Ignore all the FBI warnings about the fake bang bus travelling up and down the west coast of the States. They're all lies.
I saw a good post. Someone had posted a still thumbnail for Pornhub. The title of the video on Pornhub was "Black Man Comes From Behind to Demolish 18 Holes," and it was a picture of Tiger Woods as the thumbnail.
Every time we get semi-sexual, you're dragging animals into the mix, mate. It's a problem. You need to speak to someone about it.
Yeah, I'm sorry about it.
In 1972, a crack commando unit was sent to prison by a military court for a crime they didn't commit. These men promptly escaped from a maximum security stockade to the Los Angeles underground. Today, still wanted by the government, they survive as soldiers of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire